Well, also, according to Major Cities Chiefs Association, only 5 cities saw decreases across the board in crime. And like you said, they're all over the map, literally politically. Boston, Detroit, Houston, Oklahoma City, and Orlando.
So let's continue this conversation now with Reverend Charles Harrison.
Yeah, we're going to get a little debrief with him. Thank you so much for joining us, Pastor. Barnes United Methodist Church and board president of the Indianapolis 10-Point Coalition, an anti-violence nonprofit group. Look, there have been 13 homicides in Indy so far this month. Compared to Chicago, that's more than Chicago. What do you have to say? What are you seeing there in Indy?
Well, I think the challenge that we're facing in Indianapolis, like a lot of large cities across the country, is we're seeing a broken judicial system that does not tend to hold repeat violent felons accountable, and we keep putting them back out on the streets, and they become the suspects and the victims in a lot of the violent crimes that we are seeing, in the city. And I think that's a major concern, and certainly the proliferation of unlawful guns in the hands of individuals who have no regard for the sanctity of human life is also a major concern that I think is leading a lot to the senseless violence that we're seeing here in Indianapolis and across the country.
So, Rev, essentially you're saying we need to hold these people accountable. We need to hold them in prisons and jails. Is that what you're saying?
Well, certainly we need to hold them in jail, those repeat violent felons that continually commit violence in the community, and we cannot arrest them and then put them right back out on the streets, even before a lot of times they even go before a judge. That certainly is leading to a lot of the violence we're seeing in Indianapolis.
It is daunting, 13 homicides. Well, let's talk a little bit about you. You've been leading a 10-Point Coalition, a faith-based nonprofit, since 1999. What exactly is your organization doing? What is working? What isn't working?
Well, what 10-Point does is we try to focus on young men of color between the ages of 12 years old and 24 years old who are most likely to be the victims of this violence. And we try to redirect their lives and end the cycle of violence on the streets. We're on the corners where they're hanging out. We're in the places where gangs and cliques tend to gather, and we use OGs, which is a term on the street for original gangsters. These are the individuals that one time were a problem, and they're helping to put these young men on a path of success and pull them out of the streets from stop selling drugs. And we have seen a tremendous success rate in neighborhoods where we have worked with other grassroots organizations and law enforcement 15 times since 2015. In 10-point areas, we have gone a year without a murder.
Reverend, you must be a saving grace to that community. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's Reverend Charles Harrison.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.